1 Samuel 12:14 through 15. Obedience and blessing. 1 Samuel demonstrates the blessing that comes when one is obedient to God versus the destruction that comes when one chooses to live their own way. This is a key biblical theme that runs throughout the Old Testament. This principle is seen very clearly in 1 Samuel 12:14 through 15. Obedience to God leads one into a blessed life, while disobedience to God's ways often brings troubles. The examples are numerous. The disobedience of Eli's sons disqualified them from becoming judges in Israel. The same was true of Samuel's sons. The life of Saul demonstrates this principle even more clearly. Saul disobeyed God on a number of occasions. Saul was impatient with God's timing when he offered a sacrifice before the Lord's commanded time. He was rash and foolish when he made an oath he was unable to honor. He disobeyed the Lord's instructions to totally destroy the Amalekites and their possessions. He was greatly jealous when the people praised David for his heroics and virtue. On many occasions he sought to kill David. He dishonored the Lord by consulting with the medium. Saul's kingship was marked by disobedience to God, and the consequences were serious. God's spirit departed from Saul and left him to his own destruction. As a result, Saul would lose the approval of his people and forfeit his kingship. David, on the other hand, showed himself to be obedient to God. God looked beyond his appearance and named him the king of Israel. David was a man after God's own heart, and God blessed him for it. However, even David would fail to be fully obedient to God's commands. His life was not without flaws, and there were consequences. Israel's greatest hope was in a king who would never let them down and would always obey God's ways. Jesus' life was marked by full obedience to the will of the Father. Even when obedience cost him his life, Jesus never took the path of disobedience. He proclaimed, "Not my will, but yours be done." Luke 22:42. Jesus' obedience would bring the ultimate blessing. Although he would be crucified, he made a way for all of God's people to experience ultimate blessing and access to the kingdom of God by removing sins.